Welcome to Lemon Stream, where we feature stories of the unknown, mysteries, post-apocalyptic fiction, and other weird stuff. So settle in, get comfortable, get ready. Here we go. The New World, Chapter 1. The Day the World Changed. The ground shook like a big truck was driving by. After about 10 seconds, it stopped. "Whoa," said Gramps. "You don't feel that too often." "What you mean?" asked 4-year-old Sydney. "What was it?" "It was an earthquake. It happens when the ground shakes. It doesn't happen much around here where we live, only every few years, but in some places it happens a lot." "Is the world breaking?" Sydney asked. No, Gramps laughed. "It's just the ground shaking. It happens sometimes. The world doesn't break." "Hon," said Ma, "the power is out. I just put that ham in the oven half an hour ago, and now the power's out." Ma was upset. Everyone was coming up for family dinner, and the power picked this time to go out. "I hope it comes back on before it gets dark," 7-year-old Timmy said. "Maybe the earthshake did it," Sydney said. Gramps chuckled. "Oh, probably not. It just happens sometimes. Hey, Sydney, Lucas, Timmy, why don't you boys go in the living room and play? Timmy, ask Mommy if she can come in here for a minute." Gramps turned to Ma. "We need to figure out what to do about dinner if the power doesn't come back on." "Uncle Mikey is here," shouted Timmy, pressing his face against the window. A white SUV was coming down the driveway. "Yeah," Gramps said. "He said he was coming early with some food so we could get it set up. Let me see how close Uncle Sandy and Aunt Sylvia are." Gramps picked up his phone from the table and dialed a number. He paused and looked confused. "Ma," he said, "can I borrow your phone?" "What's wrong with yours, hon?" "I dialed Sylvia's number, but it just says all circuits are busy. Please try later. I haven't heard that message since Tropical Storm Irene." Ma handed her phone to Gramps and said, "Sometimes I hate these new phones. They only work when they want to." Gramps took her phone and dialed the number again. After a moment, he put it down. "Well," he said, "so much for that. I guess we'll just have to wait for them." "Didn't work?" Ma said, alarmed. "No," said Gramps. I didn't even get a message that time. Didn't even ring." "Did the earthshake do it?" Sid asked. Gramps smiled. "No, Sid. Run along to the living room and play." Jolene came into the room, looking down at her phone as she walked. When she reached the table, she looked up. "This is stupid," she said. "My text messages to Darren won't go through." "Neither of our phones work," Gramps said. "The tower must be down or something. I hope it comes back online soon." Heavy footsteps climbed up the stairs and the door opened. A towering, muscular, bearded figure came into the room, carrying a banana box with both hands. "It's Uncle Mikey," said Jolene, loud enough for the kids to hear in the living room. "Hey," said Michael, nodding his head to the 3 adults. "Does your phone work?" Ma asked him. He looked confused. "Yeah, why wouldn't it?" "Aunt Sylvie! Aunt Sylvie!" Sid shouted, looking out the window. "Well," Gramps said, "looks like we don't need to call them after all." "Here's the food," Michael said, placing the box on the table. "Why wouldn't my phone work?" "None of ours work," Ma answered. "We think the tower's down." Michael pulled his phone out of his pants pocket. "I'll call you," he said, "and see what happens." "Hey, Joe," Gramps said, "when does Darren get out of work today?" "He should be on his way home now," Jolene said. "That's why I was trying to call him. He needs to pick up milk." "I'm getting nothing," Michael said, taking his phone from his ear. "That's weird." "Daddy, Daddy!" Sid cried out. "That boy's better than a doorbell," Gramps laughed. A green pickup truck was careening down the driveway. "What's he doing?" said Jolene. "Why's he going so fast? Don't hit Sandy's truck." Darren laid on the brakes as he neared the house, and the truck slid about 8 feet in the dirt. Sandy and Sylvie were just getting out of their truck and looked towards him. The door to Darren's truck swung open, and he climbed out. He was a skinny man of about medium height, with lots of upper body muscle. He began walking quickly toward the house, limping on the leg that took a bullet in Afghanistan. Sylvia helped 7-year-old Nathan out of their truck, and they all followed Darren into the above-ground basement. Ma opened the door for them as they climbed the steps from the basement. "Where's the fire, Bud?" Sandy laughed. Darren came through the door. "Where's Joe?" he said. "Where's Joe?" "Over by the stove," Gramps said. "What's going on?" "New York," Darren said. "New York?" Gramps asked. "New York was hit." "What do you mean New York was hit? Like 911? Joe asked, stepping between Gramps and Darren. "The sheriff's office got an emergency communication. They said a nuclear device was detonated in New York City. They said everyone should find shelter until further notice. The sheriff said they're moving everyone from the jail to the shelter under the courthouse. I might have to go back at midnight to cover dispatch." Everyone was quiet, too stunned to talk. After what seemed like a couple minutes, but was only a few seconds, Gramps spoke. "You can't go. We have to get to shelter. We have about 7 hours to find some place and get all our stuff in it. Anyone out there after that will die." "What?" Michael said. "There will be a radioactive fallout from that explosion," said Gramps. "We're about 7 to 8 hours downwind from New York City. I've seen the fallout maps. If we're not sheltering by then, we'll die." "Okay," Sandy said. "Then let's get down to that shelter under the courthouse in Fielding." "But that's where all the prisoners are going," Sylvie said. "Then we can shelter here," Michael said. "Ma and Gramps have plenty of food here. I'll go get Denise and Afton." That won't work," said Gramps. "We have an above-ground basement. We need to be underground to be protected from the radiation. I can explain more later, but we need to get moving fast." Gramps paused, then looked at Michael. "You have a big basement, right?" "Yeah," Michael answered. "Can we all fit in there with a bunch of supplies for a couple weeks?" "Yeah, it's pretty big and all finished off and carpeted." "Okay," Gramps continued, "that would be perfect. We need to hurry because we need to make 2 to 3 trips from here to your house with a truck to get all the supplies there. Michael, you need to head back to your place. I'll go over with the first trip in the truck and start getting things set up. You'll need to let Denise know what's going on. Tell her to draw off all the water she can before the holding tank is empty. Put the water in anything you can and just get it into the basement. Get all your food down there. Get the mattresses from all your beds down there and get that chair from the living room down there. And any batteries you can find and a couple toys for your daughter. Not a lot. There won't be room for a lot. Oh, and take the toilet seat off one of your toilets and take it down with some toilet paper. Stop out front on your way and tell your brother to get down here and help us load the truck. Joe, you and the boys draw off all the water you can here and get containers into the truck. Then get all of Darren's guns and ammo from upstairs. Sylvie, you and Nathan help Ma load the truck. All the bins from the pantry have to go, and the bins in the closet and the office need to go too, and the ones in the basement. Sandy and Darren, grab the blue bin from the office closet and head over to Michael's house as fast as you can. The bin has plastic sheeting and duct tape in it. Cover all the windows on the outside and seal the edges with the duct tape. If you have time, do the insides too. Cover the doors also, but do the front door last and set that one up with a gasket, like you would if you were removing lead paint or asbestos from the house. It's hard to explain. There's a name for it, but I don't remember it. "I know what you mean," Sandy said. "Okay, let's get going," said Gramps. "The clock is ticking and every second counts if we want to make it through this. We'll have plenty of time to talk more about it tonight." There was a flurry of activity as people rushed to their appointed tasks. Gramps fumbled around through shelves, closets, boxes, and drawers, pulling out wires, radios, batteries, and other miscellaneous items. The men took off down the driveway, and the ladies and kids moved quickly to their own tasks. There was little talking. Everyone kept to their work in hushed busyness, all with a growing feeling that their world had changed forever. Nobody could imagine what the coming days were going to bring.